Today, let's explore the science behind verb reversal and learn about the next verb reversal. Will it be an apocalyptic scenario? So let's first try to understand the Earth. Where did the magnetic field originally come from? Our planet doesn't necessarily have a magnetic field. The planets on either side of us, Mars and Venus, have no magnetic fields. The Earth has a magnetic field, and that's a good thing, because if there is no magnetic field, life may not be born here. Due to the protection of this magnetic field, deadly solar radiation is deflected off the surface of the Earth without radiation breaking down our DNA. In cases that cause mutations and cancer, life can flourish. Scientists are still trying to figure out, why do some planets have magnetic fields? Some of them don't, but the current leading theory is the Earth's core acts as a giant generator. It's a principle of physics. You can use a power plant to generate a magnetic field, and vice versa. This is how power plants work. By moving a magnet over a reel of wire, will cause current to start flowing. Because the changing magnetic field exerts pressure on the electrons present, the same force, movement of electrons, will be around a vertical circle in the direction of its motion. Create a magnetic field. This conforms to Faraday's law of induction. But how does this principle apply to the Earth's core? It is a complex and delicate process. So let's start with this. Our core needs at least a partial liquid state. And fortunately, it's true. There is a solid inner core deep in the Earth's core, located in the heart of our planet's core. There's a liquid outer core there. Pressure is not enough to keep things in a solid state. The outer core is very hot. The hottest place reaches 6,000 degrees Celsius, enough to rival the temperature of the surface of the sun. When combined with the lower pressure of the core, enough to make the iron and Ni in it flow. As it moves away from the center of the Earth, temperature will drop. This causes eddies. Heat-conducting material rises from the warmer layers of the shell. They cool down, and it comes down again. Create loops and currents for flowing materials. Our power plant is starting to generate. But if there are many such flow rings, why does the Earth have only one north poles and a south pole? These magnetic fields are all over the place, aren't they? Actually, there is an extra force at work. Unify all these magnetic fields. Make them point in the same direction. This force is known as the cruise effect. This effect causes the flow of iron not along, straight up and down. It's upward and downward. The rotation of the Earth causes them to spin gently, so a huge spring is formed. Every part of every spring is around it. Create a magnetic field, and that field is circular, formed around his direction. The end result is these bullets. The interior of the spring creates a fixed identical field. All magnetic fields move in the same direction, and on the outside, the magnetic field returns to the bottom of the coil. So, in a nutshell, he created us today, the proverbial waiting machine seen by heaven. That's the North Pole and the South Pole. But this process is unstable, because it is based on a large amount of liquid iron. This iron is basically just flowing. It's not consistent. Therefore, our magnetic fields are constantly fluctuating and wobbling. We see this in a different way, but one of the important signs is our northern pole keeps moving. Since tracking the Arctic in 1831, the North Pole has gradually moved about 1,100 kilometers, leaving the original Canadian location. Move towards Siberia. His movement speed is also increasing, from 16 kilometers per year to about 55 kilometers. That's quite a leap. This could be equivalent to the instantaneous oscillation of a top. Yes, he is slightly deviated, but he kept it roughly. This is the opposite of a complete reversal. However, scientists are convinced that this kind of reversal has happened before. There's even a specific number. The last 83 million calendars have happened 183 times. How do they know? The answer is locked in the iron on the surface of our planet. When magma erupts from Earth's vines, it may contain a small amount of iron. Since these iron can be found in molten rock, free movement in pulp, they tend to orient themselves in the direction of the Earth's magnetic field. However, scientists have noticed that there are layers of geological history. Iron points in one direction. However, at other levels. He's pointing in the opposite direction. Their explanation is, the poles of the entire planet flipped. On average, this reversal seems to happen every 450,000 years. Although recently, the interval between several times is only about 300,000 years. But it's been 750,000 years since the last reversal. You might think we've passed. Someone made this claim. However, scientists have discovered that the timing of these flips is almost irregular. The longest interval between two flips, it happened during the Bayi period, for 40 million years. The record holder for the longest time is the film. Reverse time, 312 million to 262 million years ago. 50 million years without a reversal. Scientists are still trying to understand what causes these flips. But the current theory is that maybe it's the interaction between Demon and the crust, causing fluctuations in core rotation, will only interfere with the spiral shape of the outer core flow, destroy the unity of the Earth's magnetic field. It usually turns into a messy mess, fight against itself. During this chaotic magnetic field change, there may be a few poles temporarily appear, but over time, everything will settle down. The spiral is re-established. He seems random. It is not known in which direction they will re-establish. This means that about half the time, our opportunity for compassion reappears at the South Pole. This re-establishment, it could take 1,000 to 10,000 years. But is this really the end of the world? What time was it before the requalification? The magnetic field of our planet, it may be reduced to 10% of its current strength, and even lower. In theory, this could make we are more susceptible to space radiation. During this period of time, we might see the aurora expand further south. The incidence of skin cancer has increased sharply. Our satellites may detect they don't have enough protection. Radiation will burn their circuitry, cause them to fail. It may even slowly fall off its orbit. Our power grid will be more susceptible to solar storms. This could cause large swaths of the planet's population to lose power. No electricity or satellite communication. This will have a significant impact on our global civilization. Deal a serious blow. It could be worse. Sydney, a research team at the University of New South Wales. Even the recent weakening of the magnetic field, the mass extinction event in Australia. Connect. This event is known as the lens event. It's not a complete reversal. It was a brief first shake in 800 years. In their 2021 study, they proposed, due to the collapse of the Earth's magnetic field, causing a surge in radioactive carbon levels in the atmosphere. This shows that climate change that could have caused these extinctions. Something good for us. In addition to this recent study, there is no sign of a geomagnetic reversal. Once with large-scale extinction events occur simultaneously, it seems that many reversals have taken place, without any impact on animal or plant life. Even in this study, such a large scale, the extinction event appears to have limited impact. The researchers did not claim that this was a global phenomenon. The rest of the world in this world, not affected during the period. Specific Australian conditions make it more susceptible to solar radiation. In our global perspective, it is worth noting that these magnetic field changes, it will take many generations to complete. Even under the fastest conditions, this will be slow enough so that we can adapt to the new reality. If our satellites don't have enough shielding, we will have time to build better protections. If solar radiation becomes a greater risk, we can stay indoors. Sunscreen may become more popular to reduce or even eliminate the risk of cancer. According to NASA, even though our magnetic field has weakened significantly, it's not going to be completely unprotected. Our atmosphere itself can absorb radiation. This means that at least to some extent, we will be protected from the sun, the hazards of wind, and cosmic radiation. To remove ozone from the atmosphere would take far more than 10,000 years, at least until we get used to it. Living in a weakened magnetic field, when there are major changes in the way society functions, at least there won't be some turbulence. The Earth's magnetic field has changed over the past 200 years, has been gradually weakening. It needs another new one. It takes 300 years to disappear completely. So, there is still much time to stop the current decline. The trend has no reason to think that this is not temporary when the magnetic field oscillates. In addition, there are also South Atlantic anomalies to consider. This is the Earth's magnetic field that has revealed areas showing signs of weakening, covers most of South America and surrounding areas. Adjacent marine space. This district domains may not affect life on the ground, but dangerous enough, so much so that he has burned the satellite and threatened astronauts. Every time Hubble Wongyuanjing crosses him, have to shut themselves down. But it's happening all over the planet. And during the pole reversal, it is worrying that a strip of land in the South Atlantic has been growing ever since scientists started tracking him. Could signal the arrival of another geomagnetic wobble, like the lens event, or a complete reversal has come. If this happens, he is unlikely to be the end of civilization as we know it. But if the Australian giant Ankylosaurus extinction speculation is correct, so it's not without impact. Species may die. Humans will have to adapt to a more dangerous space environment. Understanding the impact of geomagnetic reversal machines on the Earth. The implications are interesting. In our lifetime, we may not see a complete Earth reversal, but for our descendants, they might see it with their own eyes.